Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. This video is sort of a general catch-up, overview, check-in on a whole variety of things that don't normally fit into the types of categories of videos that I normally do. But I felt like I'd do a sort of roundabout wrap-up of a whole bunch of things I've been thinking about sharing with the viewers. Because there's a long list of them, I'm going to put a sublink guide here to take you to the individual sections of the video. In case you don't want to hear certain parts, you can jump to these, or perhaps when you come back, if you want to look at it again, you wanted to check out one of those segments, you can do that as well. So let's get started because I have a lot to cover. First, I wanted to talk about YouTube. If you recall a ways back, there's the back finger, I had quite a long rant about YouTube, and my rant's not over actually, because they keep coming up with new things to piss me off. So let's see. First, this is kind of a piss off? This is kind of a semi-rant to the community, and it's not really a rant to the community, but it does kind of highlight why I think some things are sometimes we struggle to make changes. I took a look at the change.org petition. You may remember that I was promoting it in the past, and I posted links on a ton of videos where there were rants, hoping people would go to them. I'm sure I wasn't the only one. And they needed, from what I can tell, about 300,000 signatures. And I don't know how that number is arrived at, because some seem to be successful with lower counts, whatever, I don't know. 300,000 for YouTube seems like an easy number to hit, but they ended up getting about 233, I should say, thousand. So they came up short about 60,000 or so, which was depressing. And quite frankly, I think petitions probably don't make any difference at all, unfortunately. But it would have been just one more, thing to sort of say we tried and we made an effort. And I often have said in the past I've been what I call an armchair activist, where I sort of sit back in my armchair and say, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, somebody should fix that. And that doesn't really fix anything. And so then I made a real effort in my life, this is a personal aside, to get out there and try to make changes. I was on the city council in East Hampton for 2 terms. I was on the planning board. I became a teacher, thinking I could impact society that way. And while there was probably some impacts along the way, it's a big investment in time. It's a big investment emotionally sometimes. And I realize not everybody can do that. But sometimes when we see these little things come along, if we band together with our little inputs, we can make a sort of a bigger conglomerate input. And if you didn't sign the petition, this is not meant to make you feel guilty, but merely to say that, when these opportunities present themselves, if you, and I'm sure there's going to be other things not related to YouTube, whatever it is that you feel is important, making a small contribution to that may make a difference. I'm a bit of a cynic and think it may not, but it never hurts to just put a little out there to try. So I was a little disappointed with that, especially because YouTube continues to make me angry. Let's see here. First, I had to go into my subscribers under the manage subscribers. So I think it's in your, oh God, what is it? Not your channel. There's something about manage subscribers, and you'll get your subscriptions. Subscriptions. I have a cold today, and I'm all hopped up on cold meds. So if I stumble, deal with it. But TerranScapes moves forward, illness or not. So in your manage your subscriptions, I found that I had to go in and activate them. One would think when I click subscribe, I'm subscribed. But I realized I wasn't getting updates for some of my channels. And I had to go in and actually select them, give me updates on those. Why do I have to do that? I don't know. In fact, I noticed I checked it today, and some of my recent subscriptions weren't checked. So I had to go in and check those. YouTube, hello, you could make it easier for us. Just a thought. Also, I'm seeing in the comments, when I'm going to my comments, that I'm seeing some of them are marked linked. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Is it linked to Google+? Seems like whenever I make a comment, there's always a checkbox that says link to Google+. I don't uncheck it. I don't really care about Google+. I don't look at Google+. Maybe some people do, and if you do, well, whatever, I'll have that sent out to you. But why are some comments saying linked and many are not? It's confusing, and it fills that comment area with more clutter with no explanation or potentially no benefit. And then I'm seeing that some comments are marked spam, right? I'll go to the comments and it will say, some comments have been marked as spam. Would you like to review them? So I open it up, and 98% of those comments are comments that I would like to see in the feed. So I have to click them, and I have to hit approve, and I have to go back. And it adds more time to checking out comments and making sure I cover all of them. So it's a little frustrating, and sometimes I think I'm worried some comments are going to slip through, and I've said this before. So these are some of the things that I've been frustrated about, and I just wanted to share them with you. Rant over. On a positive note, I wanted to thank all of my subscribers. I recently, even a few weeks back, I recently hit 10,000 subscribers, which is a number I would never have assumed I would have hit 5 years ago. It's crazy. To me, it felt like a milestone. Of course, there are plenty of people out there who have tons more, right? So we're all on this bell curve of, here are the top ends with 250,000. Here are the people starting out with, 200, and 10,000 is maybe on the lower end of the curve coming up. But it was a big milestone for me, and I wanted to thank everybody who's out there. And I do have a plan for some rewards to go out to my YouTube subscribers, and we'll talk about those at the end of this video. But I just wanted to extend a thank you and to let you know that I felt honored that that it got to that point. And I've noticed, small tiny rant, that a lot of people say I was humbled by it. That's really the improper use of the word humble. And I actually double-checked. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is appropriate use. And it's not. Because it means that you felt degraded by your current status, which is where people are elevating you up and praising you. I would like to see people stop doing that. I see a lot of politicians doing that. So the better word would be honored, and that is how I feel. I feel honored, and I feel almost a little bit of a responsibility to continue to produce high quality for all of you and for the new subscribers who are joining. So thank you, new subscribers. Thank you for the people who've been there all this time, and who knows where it's going to go in the future. But I'll try to meet your expectations for high quality content going forward. Also, I wanted to mention that I have made some new efforts to increase my communication with the world. As you may know, I have been very, very reluctant about social media. I don't do Facebook. I don't need more things coming into my world. I'm maxed out as it is, just keeping up with the comments, which isn't to say I mind them, but it's sifting through those takes some time. I've been reluctant to join social media as a result. My wife mentioned that it might be in my interest to secure my Twitter name, since somebody else could stumble upon it and take it. So I thought, all right. So I secured my Twitter name. It's Mike at TerranScapes. So I have a Twitter account now, and I've been trying to post, say, one tweet a day on average, a little bit of what's going on in the shop today, something small. So if you're interested in getting little micro tidbits of what I'm doing today, today's tweet was, I got to shoot some vids, that kind of idea. You may be interested in checking it out. So that's Mike at TerranScapes, and I will post a link in the description for that. Also, I've had some people mention that they would like to have me make a mailing list so they could subscribe to that and get updates that way. So what I've done is I've created a mailing list. There is a subscription link on the main page of the site. I will put that in the description as well. And those are always in the description now, the Twitter and the subscription link. And so basically, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter mailing list, what it will be, I would say 95% of the time, is going to be me reposting the newsletter update that's on the site to the mailing list and sending it out. So if you don't always want to visit the TerranScapes site, but you'd be curious to know when a new newsletter goes up, that would be one way for you to do it. It's a brand new mailing list system for me. I've never done that before, so if there are small hiccups along the way, or if you notice something is weird about it, please feel free to contact me. That's mike@TerranScapes.com. That's my email address, and that's also in the description as well. But feel free to let me know how that's working out. If you have problems, if you'd like more information, I will try and adapt it to your needs, because really I'd like it to be more for you than just for me to get info or promos out there. I feel like it's a community. We're all working together on this, so your concerns are my concerns. I recently, this is a new section. Next section is about people starting out, and I get a fair number of questions periodically about people who are interested in starting a terrain business. People who are interested in starting maybe other businesses, but they see me as a small business owner and want to know what that's like and how I've been managing it, and where to go from zero to start. And I've been listening very occasionally to a podcast. I shouldn't say it's a podcast, a vidcast from Jared Polin. He does Fronos.com. It's a photography, actually, video series on YouTube. And I don't listen to him all the time, but I listened to just the right one recently. And midway through, he was talking about his beginning. Now, he's huge, right? He's got 250,000 subscribers. He's got an explosive, booming photography business. He's selling tutorials. He's got a great website. He's sort of what we would all aspire to in terms of our individual work. And he was mentioning about his beginnings and how his beginnings were just as meager and modest as all of us. When he started his YouTube channel, he had like 3 followers. And, he built it over time. He talks about what it's like to take early work and why it's important and how to judge its value. There's also a discussion about the quality of videos and the importance of sound, which I've kind of mentioned in the past. He talks about, staying with it and sticking it out, putting in the extra hours, and not judging your work against other people, but judging it against yourself and where you want to take it. I found it very motivational, very reflective. It was something that inspired me, and I thought this would be something really good for other people out there who are kind of starting out in any small business, really, but particularly if you're thinking terrain. When you go to listen to his, it's about maybe 10 minutes or so on this discussion. I'll put links in the description as well that will take you right to that section of the show. And whatever he mentions the word photographer, right, you just slip in the word terrain artist, or you just slip in the word whatever, and that's relevant to you, and think about how that will change your perception of starting out, what kinds of struggles there are, why it's worthy to stick with it and go forward. And hopefully you'll find some inspiration from that in some ways to reflect on where, it may feel like you're never going to get where you think other people are. And there's nothing stopping you from getting there really than yourself. For me, I have been doing this for about 7 years, and I don't feel like I'm where I want to be, but maybe that's going to take 7 more years to get there. I know that I'm willing to do that work, and I'm going to put in that effort for the next 7 years to keep improving, to keep learning, to keep trying and pushing it, because I have a goal, I have some idea of where I want to be, and it isn't going to happen tomorrow. It didn't happen in a month, it didn't happen in a year. It's been getting better, year 6, year 7, better still, but I have a lot of room to grow. Everybody does. So think about how that relates to you and where you want to be, and be willing to put the time in to get there. One of the things that I feel like maybe other people aren't doing that have been very helpful for me is thinking about how to invest yourself into that more than just the building of the terrain. Right? There's an investment in equipment, supplies, materials, and I want to say, I always recommend people stay in the black. I've never been a risky business person. I barely know how to run a business, but I do know that it makes me nervous if I'm taking out loans that I can't afford or that I have to achieve something down the road to make sure I can pay. So I'm not saying shell out 15 grand in a studio hoping that you're going to be able to make that back in 3 years. I built, and I still do, very incrementally. It took me 6.5 years before I even upgraded my camera. So it's not something you do overnight, but it's something that you gradually build, a stockpile of materials, a gradual increase in lighting, increasing your sound quality, increasing your molds and your mold production materials, your techniques. It's a gradual process, but you're going to have to invest that time and that money over and over and over to sort of create an aggregate of a foundation that you can move up and you can stand on to climb to the next rung on the ladder, so to speak. One of the things that I wanted to emphasize on that is being willing to experiment and being, I don't want to say voracious, but pretty close to that in terms of consuming the knowledge that is out there. I am, very aggressively always trying to find new sources of information I can look at for inspirations, for techniques, for styles. And so that doesn't mean I'm just watching terrain videos, and I listed in a previous back finger video that I showed you many of the terrain artists that I'm following. I'm also looking at photography videos, hence the Jared Polin channel. I'm also looking at railroad channels. I'm looking at industry channels, so Scenic Express if they have a channel, Woodland Scenics if they have a channel. I want to know what's coming out. I want to know how they're using it. How can I take that and improve it? I'm watching a lot. I invest a sizable amount of my time in making sure I'm learning from everybody around me that I can steal, borrow, share, exchange, communicate with. That is, I think, really important to moving ahead. And you'll gain those resources over time as you find them, throw them in your subscription list, and be willing to sit down with those videos and watch them every time you get a new one in the feed. I think that's really important, and it probably, like I said, it applies to any business that you're out there. I recently got a new, very expensive die cutting machine. I'm not going to talk about it yet. Will be coming up, but that means now I'm watching videos on Sure Cuts a Lot software. I'm watching what people are doing with die cutter machines, and it doesn't always relate to what I do, but it's things that will teach me and help me to figure out how I can apply it to the work I do on TerranScapes. So make education a primary goal for yourself as well, and that doesn't mean, vary from any kind of a job you're doing. So this is advice coming from somebody who still struggles to maintain, the foothold on a business. And I'm no expert, but I wanted to share with you how I've gotten here and at least my opinion of what I think it takes for me to get and climb up those rungs over the next 3, 5, 7, 10 years, wherever it's going to take to get me there. One of the other things that Jared mentions, actually, and it comes a little bit later in that video, so you may want to stick with it, is about the importance of presentation of your work. And that's one of the things that I've tried to give suggestions to other people on, and I have a lot to learn about it still. I don't think I present my work very, very well. It's getting very slowly better over time, but even looking at photos that I took not that long ago, I was like, ooh, those colors are way oversaturated. It's blown out. The picture is too small. Why don't I have full screen images? My website is 6 years old. Do I need to change that? It's looking at that and constantly thinking, what are other people doing and how can I improve it? I know I have a long ways to go on that, and it's something that I want to focus on, and I think it's something that other people should also examine and think about, how can I gradually improve that over time. So anyway, another thought on where I'd like to go and maybe how it can help you. So lastly, I wanted to just give you a tease about some of the things that are going to be upcoming on the channel in the next couple weeks. First, I have a couple product reviews I want to do. I recently purchased the Nutter. The Nutter is this small device that allows you to punch out rivets and bolt heads out of a very thick metal foil. It's pretty awesome. It has some limitations, but it has some awesomeness as well. I'd like to share that with you. I want to do a review of Pegasus Hobbies camouflage netting. After I did the camouflage netting for the World War II pieces, I had ordered some Peg Hobby camo in case I screwed it up, and I was like, oh, I gotta have a fallback. And when that came in, I was like, I think I should share some ideas about that. I'm also going to be doing a review and an introduction of the silver bullet die cutter, which is sitting over here, and that is going to be sort of an in-depth, maybe couple videos on what its potential is, what it is, how it can apply, so stay tuned for that. I also have, and I'm almost done, I set this aside before the Cliff project, so it has been in the works, and in some sense, for 4 or 5 months, I think. New ocean board textures. I really wanted to step that up. I'm on the cusp of getting it closer to where I wanted it to be. Those are almost ready to show, so I'm very excited to break that out. So that will be coming very soon. I've got some ideas in the works, and I'm very close to coming up with a method to improve my modular boards in terms of their overall quality of the board itself, its protection in the corners, its ability to lay flat. I want to share that with you and how I did that. And also, I have a couple of giveaways. I have some things that are genuine giveaways. Here, take this. I have things I need to have go away, so there's going to be that. And I would like another fundraiser for another one of those tabletops that I still have sitting here that people seem to enjoy, and I could use a little funding to offset those. I'm going to drop the value that I'm going to be seeking for those, so it will definitely be a value going out to whoever wins it. And I could use those funds to offset the silver bullet die cutter, which was, about a $1,400 investment. So, yeah, I don't want to go into the red, right? So this would help to keep me in the black. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming up very soon, those giveaways, within hopefully a few days. So there's that. Also, I'm going to be returning to I told you, right? There's a lot I wanted to cover here. I'm also going to return to the question and answer segments. The Cliff Project really put them to the side, and I got another question. So I have plenty to do for a Q&A segment, so I will be doing one of those probably right after this video. So I'd like to get back to doing those on a semi-regular basis as well. Lastly, this is a real teaser, and I thought I might not mention it at this point, but I feel confident enough that it's going to happen now that I can mention it. A lot of people have asked me about doing tutorials, and I have been reluctant to do tutorials, very much so, partly because I wanted to do them at a very high level of quality, at least as high as I would expect for myself to produce. Is it going to be the best out there? Probably not, right? We're all on the bell curve. But I know that I didn't want to do it down here. I want to at least be on the upper slide of that bell curve. And that means that I needed some new equipment, which I now have in the camera, the lighting, the sound. And I also wanted to have a place to deposit those. How am I going to do that? Am I going to do it as CDs? I'd like them to be for sale because they're going to take a lot of time to do the way I want to do them. This is not just throw a camera over my shoulder, do a couple things. Some of it's off screen, some of it's not lit well, some of it doesn't talk about the theory behind it. I want it to be an all-encompassing journey through each process, and so that's going to take an investment of my time, and the only way to be able to do that is to somehow get a little bit of a return on that. So they're likely to go up online at some hosting site for download for a fee. The fees will be probably pretty small to start out with, just so I can get people started in on it. Some of those foundational videos for techniques. There's other videos out there like that, so we'll keep the price low. again, me in the third person, to make sure it's easily accessible to those who are starting out. And as the techniques improve in terms of their quality, their advancement, the prices will change. So that's something I hope to be getting going within the next couple months. Before I get flooded with ideas for tutorials, I'd like you to hold back on that, at least for the next couple months, until I get the first round out. I already know what the first round of videos are going to be, and if you start flooding me with ideas at this point, I'm likely to lose them, or I have to throw them in a folder, and it's just going to stack up. And so wait till that's released, and then of course I'll be definitely looking for ideas on where to extend that. And it may take a little while depending on how easy it is. I shot a test video on a technique that was not a very basic technique, but I was doing it and I thought, why not? Let's just practice. And wow, it was a real learning experience. Batteries were failing me midway through. Memory cards were filling up midway through. Managing two cameras because I'd like to do some picture-in-picture and multiple angles. That was hard to set up. I still haven't sat through editing those videos segments, and I was like, okay, I need to realize that this is just like the first time I started setting out to do videos for YouTube as a basic concept. So hopefully with a little practice and a little bit more practice time, I'll be able to produce something that I think will reflect at least the goals that I'm looking for those. So stay tuned for that. Keep your eye out on the channel. Of course, I will mention more on these things once they are ready to go live, including these other videos that I've mentioned. Subscribe to me, or what do they even call it on Twitter? Do you subscribe to Twitter? Do you link to it? This is how much I know about social media. Whatever you do to follow me, do that if you're interested in, because I might mention them there from time to time. And of course, the newsletter and the mailing list, if you want that, you'll get updates on some of these as well. Whew, that's a lot to cover. So hopefully you enjoyed following me along for that. And right after this, and I get this edited and rendering, I'm going to shoot the Q&A video, so that one will be coming out very shortly. And of course, with all the things that I've mentioned, you know that I'm going to say, hopefully you'll come back and visit me for some more content, because there is a lot I would like to put out, and I have a lot of work to do that has a lot of improvements on it. So anytime I change something, I'm going to come back and show it to you, as well as the customer. So stay tuned, and hopefully you're looking forward to some of those new videos.